He came from a fighting family. Fists weren't just tradition, they were inheritance. It wasn't a choice, it was the script. And he didn't flinch. He played his part with a grin, walked straight into the meat grinder like it was a party. He liked it, the roar of the crowd, the blood, the noise, all of it. Even when it started to cost him pieces of himself. They called it toughness, heart. But those were just words for a man who didn't know how to stop, didn't want to, wouldn't. In the ring wars of the 1970s, one name refused the 10 count. He clawed off the canvas like a lion too proud to die, waiting for that bell to ring again. Jerry Quarry was born on May 15, 1945, in Bakersfield, California. The son of Jack and Arwanda Quarry, Jerry was raised in a home where boxing wasn't just a sport. It was a family trade, handed down like a name or a scar. Jack, a truck driver by day and a fighter by necessity, claimed more than 130 bouts in a career stitched together by grit and desperation. Some were professional, some amateur, Jack said. You just went around from place to place. One day your name was Joe, the next day it was John. The $2 or $3 you made is what you lived on in the Depression days. His fists told their own story. Hard tattooed on one hand, luck on the other, an omen and a warning for the life his sons would inherit. For the Quarry boys, boxing came early. I put the gloves on Jerry when he was 3, Jack said. I thought it was good for a boy to know how to defend himself. In the Quarry household, it was said the boys learned the left hook the same week they were toilet trained. Jerry was 6 years old when he first put on gloves at Johnny Flores' gym, and not much older when he stepped into the ring for his first tournament. He and his older brother Jimmy had a Cain and Abel rivalry. In the state junior Golden Gloves finals, the brothers met in a fight that left blood in the ring and bruises on the family. Jerry won the decision, but not the fight outside the ring. The hardest fight I ever had in my life was against my brother Jimmy, Jerry said. I knocked him down 13 times and he got up and hit me with a baseball bat and smashed my arm. That was Quarry family justice, settled in punches, swings, and no shortage of bruised egos. Jimmy later would step into the professional ring himself, but it didn't take. One fight, one knockout, and he walked away from boxing for good. The family moved up and down California. Jerry eventually landed at Downey High, where he ran cross-country, briefly trading fists for finish lines. Later, he transferred to Bellflower High, where the foot races gave way to fistfights. I'm not the type to be pushed around, Jerry said. By 19, Jerry briefly swapped boxing gloves for a wedding ring. He married Kathleen in June of 1964, and the two moved into a modest apartment. The romance started as blue-collar as it gets. He was flipping burgers. She was the waitress. The first time I saw her, Jerry said, I said to myself, that's my wife. But even as his boxing skills sharpened, Quarry's body seemed to take every opportunity to betray him. He was accident-prone and dogged by misfortune. At 13, he was diagnosed with nephritis, a kidney disease. The doctor said I'd be a semi-invalid for the rest of my life, Jerry said. But I wasn't worried. I knew different. The injuries followed him like a bad referee. He broke his ankle sliding into home plate during a baseball game. The umpire called him out, and Jerry, not one to let a bad call go, broke his thumb punching the ump's steel headguard. Another time, he shattered his back trying to show off with a backflip off a diving board, only to catch the edge of the pool instead of the water. Later, while horseplaying with Jimmy, his brother slammed him into a jukebox and his back locked up again. Bad luck always seemed to chase him, as if poverty wasn't enough. He was already fighting a ghost in the mirror that looked a lot like his old man. By the time he turned pro in 1965, Quarry had racked up more than 120 amateur fights, winning 107 of them, with 7 losses and 6 draws. He should have been headed to the Olympic trials in 1964, but that freak diving accident left him on the sidelines. A year later, he torched the competition at the National Golden Gloves, knocking out all 5 opponents in a total of just 18 minutes. 2 men left with broken jaws. Another, Jim Donlinger, spent the night in the hospital for observation. "The knockouts came so fast I couldn't believe it," Quarry said. "The Golden Gloves really built my confidence." But confidence didn't pay the bills. Not yet. Quarry was working long days changing tires on Greyhound buses. It wasn't the life he wanted. "I was put on this earth to do something," Jerry said, "and it wasn't to change 300-pound bus tires." Turning pro wasn't just about money. It was personal. His father said he didn't think he had the guts. Jerry wanted to prove him wrong. He turned pro with his father and gym owner Johnny Flores as co-managers. Bill Slayton was the trainer who saw the raw tools right away. "He's got a lot to learn," Slayton admitted, "but he's got the punch, which is number one." And punch he did. Quarry fought often, sometimes 3 times a month. Sugar Ray Robinson's manager, George Gainford, watched him fight and walked away impressed. "He throws bombs," Gainford said. "He is more aggressive than George Chuvalo and a harder puncher. He reminds me of a young Jack Dempsey." Quarry already had the title in his sights, and a future showdown with a fighter then still called Cassius Clay. "I've never met Clay," Jerry said. Frankly, it wouldn't be a great thrill. By his 12th pro fight, the learning curve got steeper. He was dropped for the first time but came back to stop his opponent in the 3rd round. Then came a string of hard lessons, a pair of draws, one with Irish Tony Doyle, another with Tony Alonji. Before an Alonji rematch, Quarry broke his ankle. Desperate to recover in time, he turned to a Mexican witch doctor. He wrapped it up, put some alcohol on it, and mumbled a few words, Jerry said. "The next day, I was running on the beach." He fought anyway. Another draw. Then came Eddie Machen, July of 1966. The 34-year-old veteran with 60 fights under his belt. Slick, savvy, and built to frustrate. In front of more than 10,000 fans at the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles, Machen made the 21-year-old Quarry look green. He tied him up, smothered his power, and sneered his way through 10 dull but decisive rounds. Quarry's vaunted left hook was nullified. His rhythm wrecked. At one point, Machen laughed at him. In the 10th, he nearly stopped him. Quarry wasn't just beaten, he was embarrassed. He blamed the loss on inexperience and a lack of conditioning. He thought about walking away from the sport. But something in him refused. "If I stopped fighting," Jerry said, "I would have been a quitter. All my life I'd be wondering if I could have made it. I had to find out." After the loss to Eddie Machen, Quarry made a change in his corner, enlisting the guidance of Teddy Bentham. In December of 1966, he squared off against fellow Los Angeles prospect Joey Orbio in what many saw as a test of who would emerge as Southern California's next heavyweight star. The odds makers had Quarry as a 7-5 favorite, though Eddie Machen, the one man who had beaten them both, had picked Orbio as the better fighter. Quarry settled the debate inside the ropes. He dropped Orbio in the 4th, hurt him again in the 7th, but couldn't close the show. Still, he walked away with the decision and the edge in LA's fast-rising boxing scene. A month later, in January of 1967, Quarry met a familiar face in Memphis Al Jones. This time, the lesson came fast and nearly cost him. "In the 3rd round, I got a little cocky and he landed a right that knocked me on my butt," Jerry said. "I got back up and walked into another one. That's the hardest I've been hit in my life." Quarry beat the count, somehow steadied himself, and rallied to stop Jones in the 5th. He later admitted he didn't remember anything after the 2nd knockdown. Only instinct carried him through. But for all his grit and growing resume, the critics had found their target. Even when he won, Quarry couldn't escape scrutiny. He dominated veteran Brian London over 10 rounds, but the headlines scolded him for not knocking out, quote, everyone's punching bag. When he did stop the aging Alex Matef, one reporter wrote that Matef was, quote, so far over the hill that a Vietnam search party couldn't have found him. Then, in June of 1967, came his biggest challenge yet, a date with former heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson, a man of speed, skill, and still dangerous fists. For Quarry, it was more than a crossroads fight. It was a chance to prove that he belonged with the best.
My friend and buddy, Jerry Quarry. Jerry Quarry, 193.
Jerry Quarry for tonight's fight weighs in at an even 193 pounds. All right, boxing fans, stepping onto the scale, the great former champion. He held the title 2 times from New York, the very likable Floyd Patterson.
Floyd Patterson, 194.
All right, fans, there you have it from Clayton Fry. Floyd Patterson weighing in at an even 194 pounds, 1 pound heavier than his young opponent, Jerry Quarry.
Let's get at the scale and weigh him, Jerry.
What do you want to say?
Weigh him, Joe.
Wait, how about that? Yeah, let's see what you want.
Look out.
What you, a bantamweight?
Yeah. 113.
113?
Just couldn't get loose that other pound to make a flyweight.
Hey, man, you in shape. Okay. Good luck, fellas.
When Quarry stepped into the ring with Patterson in June of 1967, the odds were against him. Patterson, older but far from faded, was installed as a 7-5 favorite. Quarry, unfazed, boldly predicted a knockout. And for a while, it looked like he might deliver. He came out like a man on a mission, pressing Patterson with confident aggression. In the second round, he scored not 1 but 2 knockdowns, and the crowd at the Olympic Auditorium roared its approval. But Patterson wasn't done. The ex-champ clawed his way back into the fight, using guile and experience to turn the tide. He cut Quarry in the 4th, and in the 7th, dropped him, a shot that not only knocked Quarry down, but left him hobbling on a twisted ankle. The bout went the full 10 rounds and was ruled a draw, a result that sent the pro-Quarry crowd into a chorus of boos. In April of 1967, reigning WBA heavyweight champion Cassius Clay was stripped of his title after refusing induction into the U.S. Army. The WBA then organized an 8-man elimination tournament to crown a new champion. The field was stacked. Jimmy Ellis, Leotis Martin, Oscar Bonavena, Carl Mildenberger, Thad Spencer, Ernie Terrell, Floyd Patterson, and Jerry Quarry. And for Quarry, there was no doubt who the biggest obstacle was. "I think Patterson is the biggest threat I have in the tournament," Jerry said. "After I finish him, the rest should be downhill." The rematch came 4 months after their first battle, and Quarry made his intentions clear early. He floored Patterson in the 2nd, then again in the 4th, trying to erase any doubt that lingered from the draw. But Patterson, at 32 years old, proved as tough and tenacious as ever, roaring back in the late rounds with the kind of urgency that made him a 2-time world champion. After 12 hard-fought rounds, the decision went to Quarry, a controversial call that once again split fans and critics.
Jerry, you hear, quite frankly, some of the crowd reaction not favorable. Did you think you won this fight in your own mind?
Yes, I did. I built up such an early lead. He just couldn't overtake it, that's all.
Do you agree that you began to tire along about the 7th and 8th round?
Yes, I did. He kept the pace up pretty well, and I got a little tired about the middle of the 9th.
All right, I wonder as we talk, Jerry, if you'd look up at our camera. What were your best blows as you decked him in the 2nd and the 4th, as you saw it?
Both of them right hand. Both right hand.
Now, you told me before the fight that Patterson didn't hurt you in the last fight. Did he hurt you tonight?
He hurt me one time this time with a right hand, overhand right hand.
Excuse me 1 second, Jerry. Floyd! Ernie, would you bring Floyd here? I just want to break in because the 2-time former world heavyweight champion, it seems to me, deserves the opportunity to be seen. Floyd, come on over here, Jerry. Come to my other side. Here is Floyd Patterson. Floyd, look up at our camera. What is your feeling about this decision?
Well, I naturally feel a bit, distressed, I guess. But Jerry was a hard opponent. He put up a very hard fight. I didn't count the punches that I landed, nor did I count the punches he landed. So I guess the referees and judges were just in their decision.
I think the fair question, and we've only got a few seconds left, is, and it has to be asked, is it quits this time?
I'll know my answer tomorrow, Harold.
Good luck to you. As the fans boo and some cheer, Floyd Patterson shakes hands with Jerry Quarry. And that's the story from the ring.
By the summer of '67, Quarry had become a punching bag of a different kind, not just for the men in the ring, but for the writers in the press box. One writer quipped that Quarry's idea of fight prep was a shave and a haircut. Another cracked that he fought like a drugstore cowboy and should have been arrested for loitering. The boxing world, still chasing the ghost of Marciano, had pinned its hopes on Quarry, and when he fell short, they turned on him like angry shareholders. Veteran columnist Jimmy Cannon sat down with him, trying to poke into the why of it all, why slick fighters like Machin and Patterson had given him trouble. Quarry's answer was more psychological than strategic. Truthfully, it was their names, Jerry said. Names make you nervous. It puts you on edge, being in with the name. In the next round of the WBA Elimination Tournament, Quarry faced Thad Spencer. The oddsmakers had Quarry as a 7-5 underdog.
You're looking at Jerry Quarry in his corner, and Quarry is bleeding from the mouth. Flipped late in the round by Spencer, the blood began to flow. First sign of physical damage against Jerry Quarry. That round probably to be given to Thad Spencer. Now, let's leave Jerry Quarry and move over, if we can, to take a look at Willie Catcham working on Thad Spencer, who is a tired fighter, but who came on somewhat in that round, probably to win it. Catcham giving Spencer instructions, but quite frankly, he's got to tell him he's got to knock him out, it would seem at this point. Crowd knows that the fight has only 45 seconds to go. Their cries are out of all proportion, quite frankly, to what's happening in the ring in this round. The question is, will he last the fight now? He is stunned. He is a punching bag for Quarry at this moment. Oh. The end of the fight, the time had run out. And this reporter is going up into the ring. This fight was apparently declared a knockout. Jerry Quarry accorded a technical knockout victory over Thad Spencer, 2 minutes, 57 seconds of the final round. Now let's get Jerry Quarry over here. Jerry Quarry, please. Jerry is, as you can see on your screen, wishing luck to Thad Spencer. Jerry, I would have to say that if you proved anything today, you proved that you could go 12 rounds.
I tell you I could. I just fought a smart fight and it paid off, that's all.
Quarry flipped the script in delivering the upset. He boxed smarter, hit harder, and showed growth from the Patterson fights. Even more satisfying was the method of victory. He not only used his trademark left hook, but also a crushing right hand, a message to the press that he wasn't just a one-trick brawler. The win sent Quarry to the tournament finals, a long road from the Greyhound Tire Yard. Against Jimmy Ellis, he walked in as the 7-5 favorite, something that felt more like a vote of redemption than dominance. But the fight itself was a letdown. Ellis outmaneuvered a flat Quarry for 15 rounds, claiming the WBA heavyweight crown. Afterward, Quarry revealed he'd gone into the bout with a serious back injury. After the fight, Jerry said, I wore a body cast for 3 months. 7 months passed as Quarry tuned up on Journeyman before signing for a crossroads bout against Buster Mathis. Mathis, the heavier man by 38 pounds, came in as a solid 11-5 favorite. But Quarry dropped him in the second round, and Mathis fell so hard he split open his trunks. From there, Quarry coasted to a unanimous decision, setting the stage for a long-anticipated showdown with Smoke and Joe Frazier. According to Quarry's father, Jack, the two had already tested each other behind closed doors. In a past sparring session, Jack claimed that Jerry had gotten the better of it, at least until Frazier's trainer pulled his fighter out. People in Frazier's camp reasoned that there was no sense in them killing one another for free in the gym, not when there's big money down the line. Corey was confident heading in. The ref is going to count over one of us, Jerry said, and it won't be me.
General conviction is that Quarry can take a punch better than Frazier. He's got a granite-like chin, but he hasn't perhaps faced a man who can hit like Frazier before. Quarry is hiding his face behind his gloves. 1 minute left in round one. Both men trying to do damage to the midsection. There is blood coming from Quarry's nose. Frazier is pummeling Quarry with lefts and rights. Quarry striking back and getting in a good left and right. This is a slugfest. A good right, though, by Quarry right there. Oh, a good right by Quarry, and another good right by Quarry. Frazier, when he delivers his left, drops the hand and leaves himself wide open for the right. He has always been vulnerable to this punch. A left by Quarry, a left to the belly by Frazier. Quarry is a tough kid, I'll tell you that. But Jerry is fighting off the ropes effectively as he always. Quarry's face cut severely, especially the right cheekbone. You can see the cut immediately opened again by one of those Frazier lefts. The left keeps getting in there because Quarry keeps his right low. It's a defect he has had fatally throughout his boxing career. There's no bounce left to Jerry, no spring. Round. They stopped the fight. The commission doctor and referee Arthur McCanny went over to Quarry's corner, examined his right eye. Puffy, closed. The left eye, too, now substantially closed. The vision apparently gone.
Frazier and Corey gave the fans 7 blistering rounds of toe-to-toe violence. It was the Ring Magazine Fight of the Year, but it left Corey reeling in more ways than one. After the Frazier fight, Jerry said, I lost my enthusiasm for boxing. I went into that fight in the best condition of my life, but I had taken a shot earlier that day for a bronchitis condition, and when I climbed into the ring, I was weak. For Corey, it wasn't just a loss. It was a moment when his body betrayed his heart. And the critics, once again, sharpened their pens. Less than 2 months after the loss to Frazier, he was back under the lights, scoring 2 quick knockouts before calling it quits. But as with most fighters, the retirement didn't stick. 3 months later, he stepped into the ropes once more, this time against Canada's granite-chinned George Chuvalo. For 6 rounds, Corey was masterful. He controlled the pace, carved up Chuvalo's face, and closed one of his eyes. But in the 7th, with Corey seemingly cruising to a decision win, Chuvalo landed a textbook left hook. Corey dropped to one knee, appearing clear-headed and ready to beat the count. But referee Zach Clayton counted him out. Corey later claimed the roar of the crowd drowned out the referee's voice. The critics didn't spare him. He boxed with Ellis, columnist Jim Murray wrote. He slugged with Frazier and butted heads with Chuvalo. Jerry has an unequal talent at putting himself at a disadvantage. Back in rebuilding mode, Corey's path was rocky. He was floored by Rufus Brazil in the opening round of their bout before rallying for a stoppage win. Then came boos after a workmanlike decision over Scrap Iron Johnson. Next, he was lined up as cannon fodder for Mac Foster, a fearsome slugger with a spotless 24-0 record, all knockouts, and stories circulating of him flattening both Cleveland Williams and Sonny Liston in sparring. But Corey saw through the mystique. Foster throws everything off the jab, he said. All they had to do was time the rhythm.
Congratulations on, I think, a superb victory over a fine fighter, Matt Foster. I want to know how you feel.
I'm a little tired, but he can punch like heck, man.
Eddie, listen, he rocked you in the third round, didn't he?
Good right hand.
Did you almost get out?
No. It just shook me just for about 1/10 of a second, that's all.
You had trouble getting by his left jab, didn't you?
I had trouble getting started.
Yes, I know. And that was a surprise to me because you usually start very fast.
Well, trained differently, and I don't get loosened up until about 3-4 rounds now. As you can see, I started coming around the floor. See?
How about his left hook?
Even the right hand was the one that hurt.
Now, I know that. But he
hook didn't have much.
No. Jerry, you had trouble getting his guard down. How did you go about getting him to get it down?
Taking left hooks in the body.
In the body.
Yeah.
Jerry, I know you're all out of breath.
No, that's all right. I'm not tired. I'm just really exhausted.
How about Joe Frazier? Would you like to fight him again?
Well, that's what I came here for tonight. Listen, I'd like to say hi to all my family watching in Southern California, my friends in Irvington, California, and every fan in the world I've got.
Corey upset the odds, handing Foster his first professional loss and putting himself back in the heavyweight conversation. His reward was a bout with a returning Muhammad Ali, fresh from exile and looking to reassert dominance.
I know that you've got a lot of confidence that you can win this fight. Would you like to tell me why?
Well, I think that I have an awful lot of ability, and that I think that I'm a better fighter than he is. I think that's the reason I'll beat him.
The reason I asked you was that a year ago you were talking on the lines that you might retire and that you were a bit fed up with the game because you'd just been beaten by Frazier. But things seem altogether different now, don't they, a year later? What's happened in the meantime to make you feel this way?
Well, I've grown a year older and gained a lot more experience in boxing, and I've learned how to listen.
You've learned how to listen?
Yes.
Who have you learned how to listen to?
To my trainer and the people that are doing me good.
What you mean is that in past fights you've been doing things which have been wrong?
Very definitely. I've gotten ideas in my head that I'm going to do certain things, and no matter whether they were wrong or not, I was still going to do them. And now I realize that I'm not going to win fights this way, so I listen to the people that can tell me the right things to do.
Have you got an idea in your mind at this moment, the way you think the fight will go?
Oh, I have an idea, but I'm not pushing it out right now.
Because you're a little bit behind on a lot of scores, aren't you, like reach and height and so on with him? But you are younger, you've got that advantage.
I've been a little bit behind on those assets of the game most of my fights.
I was here yesterday when you had the confrontation with him at the medical inspection, and he was obviously trying to get under your skin, and I thought that maybe he succeeded. Is that
no,
so?
He didn't. The only one that did was that idiot sparring partner of his.
What was he saying to you? Not the sparring partner, I mean, but Muhammad Ali.
Oh, just typical stuff. Same things that he said to a lot of people. No big thing. Didn't bother me.
What is the one thing about Muhammad Ali's style that you think you might find the most difficulty with?
Speed. His speed.
Have you had any opportunity to see him train at all while you've been here?
I don't watch him. I don't need to. When I watch here, I'm not going to fight him in here. I'm going to fight him in the auditorium.
I wondered whether you might have formed an opinion if he was slower than he was 3 years ago.
I haven't watched him, so I couldn't give you that answer.
In your mind's eye, when you see the fight finishing, how do you see it? Do you see it with him on the floor or what?
I see me winning it.
Getting back, but the cut has been open. You see the timer, 15 seconds. There's the bell to end round 3. Gary Corey going back to the corner. While his trainer, Teddy Bentham, Lou Gross, and Willie Ketchum go to work on that cut. Referee Tony Perez standing directly above Corey's corner, watching him. And Perez is calling for the doctor. Corey is upset about it. Captain trying to hold him back.
I quit, Corey said after the bout. He retired once more, only to return 8 months later against Dick Gosha, a brash opponent who taunted Quarry a little too hard during a press conference. Quarry made him pay, sending Gosha to the hospital with his face bruised beyond recognition. From there, Quarry built a respectable 6-fight win streak, toppling fringe contenders like Jack Bodell and Larry Middleton. After each win, he lobbied for another shot at Ali, and in June of 1972, he got it. But fate, once again, had other plans. In a fight card promoted as the Soul Brothers versus the Quarry Brothers, his younger brother Mike stepped into the ring with Bob Foster for the light heavyweight title. Jerry watched from the locker room as Mike was destroyed, knocked unconscious in brutal fashion. Whatever fire he had going into the ring flickered out the moment he saw his brother hit the canvas. When the bell rang, he looked like a man going through the motions.
Quarry stays right after him, though, doesn't he?
Yes, a lot of punches were thrown, but not too many solid punches were landed in that particular exchange. I think Muhammad Ali is really realizing that this man is in here, by God, like perhaps no other fighter has ever been in. He wants to win that battle, this Jerry Quarry, and so does Muhammad, as we say again and again. And there's that beautiful defense. Jerry doesn't seem to be able to get away from that left jab. There's one that just grazes. He knows what his problem is, but he doesn't seem to be able to solve it. And that left hook of his is short. He's using some of Muhammad Ali's tactics right now.
Muhammad is easing up at the moment.
The left of his jab. Old Joe Louis had a left jab that could knock a man out with. I think Muhammad Ali, under the right condition, could possibly do the same thing. There he's landed with another 3 or 4 or 5. There's 2 more.
Notice how he throws his punches, Ali, and then dances away?
Yes. Jerry Quarry seems to be able to seems now to be pushing his punches rather than throwing, rather than snapping them. Some of the snap has already gone out of his punches, I think.
Boy, look at him throw
He's
that
completely
left.
befuddled.
Quarry got a left in that time. But he takes 3 or 4 in return.
That's it, champ. Put the key in the door.
Bundini Brown, key in the door.
There was a beautiful left uppercut by Muhammad Ali, and there's another left hook.
Sugar Ray. Bundini Brown said use some Sugar Ray on him. Got him up against the ropes just above us and hitting him with everything. Quarry trying to come back.
That's it, Jerry landed a hell of a
dances away. He's not hurt.
That's the thing that he's got to be careful of. Muhammad Ali can't leave himself open for that kind of thing. Jerry landed again. There's another left hook by Jerry Quarry. You cannot count this guy out no matter what happens. He's going to be in there fighting. He is a fighter, and he's going to fight to the last ounce of his strength. That is the thing that Muhammad Ali has realized. And that is why. That's why he's taking the tactic that he is.
About 15 seconds left in the round. Good right by Muhammad Ali. Good left. And there's the end of the bell.
Yes.
Ali's not too tired. He's breathing just a little heavier, of course. But compared to Quarry, as you can see, is taking some deep breaths. He needs them. He's taking a lot of punches in this fight as we go into round 7 of the scheduled 12-rounder at Las Vegas, Nevada, in the convention arena. Ali now.
The referee has stopped the fight.
Stopped the fight.
Jerry wasn't able to continue.
The referee has stopped the fight.
Jerry looked absolutely helpless, Mel. I think he did the right thing. The man could have been hurt. I think that's one of the greatest exhibitions of fighting that I ever seen.
The loss crushed Quarry's hope of another title shot, and crushed his home life too. His wife left. He moved into a modest apartment and took a gig promoting the rock band Three Dog Night. I was almost glad to be out of boxing, Quarry said, at least being away from it for a while. But then I started thinking of it again. September 16, 1972, Jerry Quarry wasn't looking for salvation that day. He was just showing up for a blind date. The location was the Palm Springs Canyon Country Club. His date was Arlene Charlie Charles, former Miss Indiana and a familiar face on Los Angeles TV. But for the first 24 hours, Corey barely gave her the time of day. Aloof, distracted, and openly flirting with other women, it was as if he was trying to lose the fight before it even started. He had been put down so much, Charlie said, that he was trying very hard to impress people. But the next day, something changed. Corey called, apologized, asked for another shot. Charlie told him the truth. Drop the act. No more pretending, no more playing tough. And just like that, Corey started talking about his disappointments, his divorce, his father, the championship that kept slipping through his fingers. He was fat, Charlie said. He was sitting around, doing nothing. All he could talk about was the championship. Just saying, I coulda. I told him to get off his butt, to get out and work. The heck with his family. The heck with his ex-wife. I told Jerry he had to break all ties. And he listened. Still technically retired, Corey picked up the phone and called Gil Clancy in New York. Clancy, the boxing mind behind several world champions, was direct. You've got a lot of talent, he told Corey. I think you've been wasting it for quite a while now. I think you've got a good shot at going all the way. You just need the proper guidance. Well, that's what I'm calling you about, Corey said. 15 minutes later, Clancy was his new manager. The only condition was no interference from anyone. Not friends, not his ex, not even family. Corey didn't flinch. He was all in. 7 months after the loss to Ali, a refocused Corey returned to the ring, stopping Randy Newman in 7 rounds. And with Clancy in his corner and Charlie in his life, he took on a challenge that few thought he was ready for. Ron Lyle. Undefeated at 19-0 with 17 knockouts, Lyle was considered the next destroyer in the heavyweight division. Corey was just another comeback story waiting to unravel. But Jerry had other ideas. With Clancy's technical polish and Charlie's tough love, Corey felt reborn. Psyched up to the hilt, as he put it. He walked into the ring that night carrying more than just a game plan. He carried clarity. When I walk in against Lyle, Jerry said, he's going to know from the look on my face that I am the boss, and he's just going along for the ride. By 1973, Corey had momentum, and for once, a little peace. He just married Charlie. The ceremony was intimate, the honeymoon low-key at Lake Arrowhead, and as a wedding gift, Jerry gave her a horse. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone who knew him. This fighter, who'd taken his share of beatings in and out of the ring, finally looked like a man settling into the saddle of a second act. Back in the gym, Corey was all business. Trim, focused, and sharper than he'd been in years, he stormed back into the ring with knockout wins over James Woody and Tony Doyle, tune-ups that reminded the division that Quarry, for all the setbacks, was still a serious player. With a new wife, new focus, and new trainer Gil Clancy in his corner, Quarry set his sights on the top. He called for a title shot against newly crowned champion George Foreman.
We signed a contract with Foreman on October 25th, and obviously that's passed, so that fight didn't come across. He had, from that point on, 90 days to make that contract good. We're having trouble right now. He's refused to fight me. He turned down $1 million offer from the Garden to fight me, and then they upped it to $1.25 million, and he refused that. So I don't know what the hell he wants. I'm here, ready, willing, and able to fight him or anybody else in the world. Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton, anybody. They can say that nobody will fight him. Well, I'm ready and willing to fight anybody at any time. Just give me the opportunity.
With the Foreman fight off the table, Quarry did what he always did. He took the tough road. Next up was Ernie Shavers, the walking detonation device of the heavyweight division. Shavers had ended 44 of his 45 wins by knockout and was considered the hardest puncher in the sport. Still, Quarry came in a 12-5 favorite. Writers who once dismissed him now edged toward respect. When Jerry Quarry takes command of a fight early, columnist Dick Young wrote, "He is unbeatable." You can see the confidence build within him, round upon round, prancing and popping, till he looks like some combination of John L. Sullivan and Billy Conn.
Shavers warned about grabbing behind the neck. Shavers backed away, so he might have been hurt. He is hurt, apparently.
Yeah, he's hurt.
More than a minute to go in the round. Shavers is in trouble. Down goes Shavers. He's taking the mandatory 8 count. 5, 6, 7. The referee talks to him. He's in Quarry's corner. He doesn't seem to know where he is.
I think they got to stop it.
The bout is over. The bout is over. The referee has stopped the contest. The winner by a knockout in the first round is Jerry Quarry. Jerry, I gotta say, you look like Jack Dempsey in there. Jerry Quarry.
Hey, he's got a hard hit. I hurt both hands.
You hurt both hands. Did he hurt you?
No.
I thought he did.
He didn't hit me.
He hit you. He hit you, Jerry.
When? Early in the round.
Jerry, come on. We don't want an argument here.
He don't have one. He didn't hit me at all with any decent shot at all.
What do you think hurt him most by you?
Left hook.
The left hook.
Yeah.
Here's Ernie Shavers. Ernie, come on over here, huh? Here's Ernie Shavers, who must be very disappointed.
I just got hit.
Ernie, what happened?
I just got hit with a shot and never got recovered.
You got over there in the corner. You didn't seem to know what was going on.
I got hit with a good shot and couldn't recover, that's all.
You hit him a good shot?
Yeah, he's a very good fighter. He hit me with a good shot. He's a very good fighter.
All right, Ernie, thank you. Good luck. Here's Gil Clancy. Gil, I got to offer you congratulations. You may even be manager of the year or something, because you've done wonders with Quarry. He's got a new zest for fighting, hasn't he?
Well, he sure has, Don. He worked real hard for this fight. We were very disappointed with the postponements, and the grind of waiting and waiting and waiting. I guess he just had to get it over with like this,
This was some win. Now, what about Foreman?
Well, we had a contract to fight George Foreman before, and he promised me on September 10th, right after Jerry knocked out Tony Doyle, he promised me he'd fight Jerry in November. I can't find him. I think George Foreman's retired.
Oh, he's there all right.
Well, why don't he fight Jerry Quarry?
1973 had been a renaissance year for Quarry. He'd cleaned up his personal life, tightened up his boxing, and under the watchful eye of Gil Clancy, carved out what was arguably the finest campaign of his career. "I'm a mature man now," Jerry said. "That's the difference. I have confidence now. In the past, there was always a little doubt." With renewed swagger, Quarry once again called out the biggest dog in the yard. He wanted Muhammad Ali again. A third fight. A chance to rewrite history. Ali, never one to mince words, asked, "Doesn't that boy ever learn?" No third fight came. Instead, Corey found himself squaring off with a different ghost from his past, Joe Frazier. It had been 5 years since Frazier had pounded Corey into submission in their brutal 1969 clash, a fight that left scars visible and invisible. But this was supposed to be a different version of Corey. Stronger, smarter, reborn. Corey had claimed resurrection. Frazier would test its authenticity. The 1969 Corey was the stupid Corey, Clancy said. This time, Clancy insisted, there was a plan. A smarter fight, a more composed, more calculating Corey. And maybe he was right. Frazier, after all, wasn't the same man either. He'd taken punishment. He was slower now. The oddsmakers noticed, installing Corey as a 6-5 favorite. But Frazier wasn't buying the narrative of rebirth. He'd seen the cracks forming. He'd watched Corey get dropped by Joe Alexander before rallying to win in 2. He saw what the oddsmakers didn't. The wear and tear, the slipping reflexes, the subtle signs of decline. Frazier didn't see a new Corey. He saw the same old one, only more weathered, and he came to prove that some paths can't be outrun, no matter how many comebacks you make.
Quarry's cut over his right eye. Quarry has a light cut over the right eye. A minute to go in the round. There's Mrs. Quarry, Charlie. Quarry seems to be gasping for breath. Round almost over. They're in Quarry's corner. Quarry goes down. The round is over. He's taking the mandatory 8 count, but he's up now. The round is over, and he can go to his corner. Quarry was down. What do you think of that, Angelo?
I'm surprised the bell didn't ring. The round was over.
And the ring lights lit up.
Yeah, the ring lights lit up, thank heaven.
I think for round 5. Frazier running out to finish his man if he can.
Get out of the way, Joe. Where's the other side of the ring?
Right now, it's no contest. Warriors game, but that's about all at the moment. He's having trouble breathing, his legs are in bad shape, and he's got a cut over his right eye. Quarry is starting to flinch. Is it all over?
Jerry Clark got a bad rip over his left eye.
Quarry is cut over both eyes. 2 minutes to go in the round. A very bad cut over the left eye by Quarry. Of Quarry. Some of the people are yelling, stop the fight.
Stop it, Joe!
Quarry's in bad shape. Lewis seems undecided whether or not to stop it. Warriors game, and it's all over, I think. Yep, it's all over.
The storybook resurrection of Corey was unraveling fast, and no one documented his downfall with more acidic flair than Jim Murray. The Los Angeles Times columnist, never shy about needling Corey, had his pen sharpened after the latest defeat. It was supposed to be the new Corey, Murray wrote, but I recognized him right away when he went down. The only thing new about him was his haircut. In the dressing room, the brutality of the sport came full circle. Corey sat bloodied and broken, his mother Arwanda cradling his battered head. She begged him to walk away for good. He wept. He retired. Then, in typical Corey fashion, he changed his mind. He drifted between binges of cocaine and Heineken, vacationing in Hawaii when the call came to fight Ken Norton. Still buzzed, he accepted with just 2 weeks' notice.
That Norton has. That one was picked off. That short right shot did score alongside the left side of Quarry's face.
Jerry's hook is not as sharp as it usually is.
Left hook by Quarry landed. He took a right to the jaw, Quarry did. It was bothering him, but it's what?
Quarry knows his card. Quarry's really getting hit now. He's really getting hit. That eye looks very bad. Norton hit him with every one of those punches. He pinpointed every one of those punches. Quarry is in trouble.
It cuts above the right eye, just around the end of the eyebrow.
And the blood is inside of his eye. The blood is inside of his eye. It's hampering his vision. There's no doubt about it. He's still strong. He's fighting. Norton covering up real well. Another shot on that eye by Norton. Norton fighting a smart fight. He's in a shell. He's not getting hit with those punches as bad as it seems. What an exchange. Quarry doing all the work, but Norton is the one who's pinpointing punches.
John, Norton is really taking a pounding. I don't think he can get away. If he's trying to pull an Ali, he's getting bombed. About a minute and a half left to go in round number 3. Quarry with a cut right eye, fighting desperately.
Quarry's afraid the fight will be stopped because of that eye. He's pouring it on. He's going for broke. A good right hand by Norton hurt Quarry. A barrage of punches. 2 left hands, a right hand by Norton.
Norton is scoring heavily to the head. That right went into Norton's body.
Quarry is really pouring on punches, but Norton is picking off a lot of those punches. I don't know whether it shows up. Now Norton with a combination.
The head.
There's no way that this fight is going to go 12 rounds. No way.
About 20 seconds left in round number 3. Referee is Johnny Lobianco.
Well, they're going to have to do a lot of work on Quarry in this corner at the end of this round.
Both fighters throwing haymakers. Quarry has not stopped throwing punches. There's the bell.
As I say, he plays passive for a little while, and then he comes out of his shell punching.
About a minute left to go in round number 4.
Quarry's face is in real bad shape.
One throw is hurt.
Quarry has got to be one of the toughest fighters that ever fought.
Quarry is fighting a desperate fight now. Sure. 4 in football. Or rather 4 in track and 3 in football.
Everything is uphill for Quarry now.
That right landed. Quarry's head went back.
I don't think that he has enough strength left to win this fight.
Norton seems to be punching harder.
I think it would be a real good idea right now if they would say this. That's all, Mr. Quarry, at this stage.
This is round number 5. I would say Norton has won 3 out of the 4. Quarry is going to last long. At this rate, Quarry can't last long. It's about a minute left to go in round number 5.
He's resting. He'll rest. He'll go into a shell. He'll come out punching again. Kenny Norton has thrown very few punches to the body. Everything has been to the head.
Quarry looks like he's going to go down at any moment.
I don't know what keeps him up. I don't know how he can stay on his legs. That's it. That's the right thing to do. Congratulations, Johnny Lobianco.
The excuses came once again, but they fell flat. The fans didn't buy it. Neither did his wife, Charlie, who left him, then came back. It was like that with Quarry. He was a contradiction in motion. One day a retired fighter, the next a country western crooner. He tried more acting, and even did ringside color commentary next to Tom Brookshire and Brett Musburger.
I'm the greatest. I won the light heavyweight championship here in 1960. I was the best light heavyweight that ever lived. And I'm going to tell you that I'm the greatest now. I'm a heavyweight. Ain't nobody can whoop me. I want to whoop everybody. There's two men. Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Jerry Quarry, we've got some business first before we get to Victor Galindez and Richie Cates. Light heavyweight rematch. We should have some action here in Rome.
Victor Galindez and Richie Cates. Victor Galindez is the light heavyweight champion of the world, but I'm a heavyweight. He can't fight me. He couldn't whoop me. But Victor Galindez is the light heavyweight champion of the world, going to fight Richie Cates, but he can't whoop me. I know he can't whoop me. He going to have trouble with Richie Cates.
But the old injuries never left him, nor did the money troubles. A hunting trip ended with another back injury. The IRS took its bite too. Of the $2 million Quarry earned inside the ropes, only $454,000 remained in his pocket. The government takes everything, Jerry said. It just doesn't seem to realize that a fighter only has a certain number of years in which he can make a living. It was money that lured him back to the ring, but also identity. Quarry had tried on other lives. Singer, actor, broadcaster, but none of them fit. He was a fighter. That's who he was. 2.5 years after walking away, he returned to face Lorenzo Zanone.
Here he is, Jerry Quarry, making a comeback. And Jerry, why are you doing it?
Well, for two reasons, Chris. One, I saw Norton and Bobic on May 11th of this year, and I watched Norton destroy Bobic in 58 seconds, and I thought, Jesus, making the kind of money he's making for 58 seconds, I'd like to get a piece of it. And then secondly, I saw Ali fight Alfredo Evangelista and go 15 rounds with him, and proved to me that those guys can fight 15 rounds with Ali, then maybe I've got a shot at doing it again.
Jerry, here in the city of action, Las Vegas, money. That had a lot to do with it, didn't it?
Has an awful lot to do with it. The kind of money they're making now is, well, let's put it this way, it's a lot of money. I fought about 18 men rated in the top 10 at the time that I fought them. I never made the money they're making now, so I feel I've earned the right to make the kind of bread that the people are pushing out now.
And personal damage in the way of further cuts to the eyes or face doesn't bother you at all?
No, in all sincerity, there's only a few fights that I have really gotten cut. I got cut with the first Ali fight. I got cut with Joe Frazier, and I got cut with Ken Norton. Those were major fights, so because of the major fights, people think I'm a bleeder. Other than that, I haven't been cut that often.
In other words, there's more money boxing as a heavyweight than being a television commentator, right?
Well, that's without a doubt true, but my career, I hope, ends up to be a television commentator. I'm trying to put the two of them together, being a commentator and a boxer, and I'm going to do boxing for a couple more years, get a piece of the change and see if I can take one shot at the title, and if I do get that shot, I'm going to bring it home.
We wish you good luck in both fields.
Thank you very much, Chris, and it's really nice talking with you.
At just 32, Quarry looked far older. One sports writer likened him to a rusty, worn-out, one-armed bandit. Zanone boxed smartly, sweeping round after round while Quarry trudged forward like a man chasing shadows. In the corner between rounds, his trainer pleaded for a miracle. "It's coming back," he said. "It's coming back."
Frank, quite candidly, it's kind of sad to see so nice a young man as Quarry getting this kind of beating.
I agree, Howard. I think, well, he knows his own life, and apparently he decided he either needed it badly or he decided to just take another shot at it. But I hate to see it. I agree with you.
Frank Sinatra as we go into the 9th round. Lorenzo Zanone in the white trunks. Quarry trying to bounce back in the 8th round. Trying here again. Zanone sensing it. And look at this. Quarry got in a sneak punch, and I can't believe it. Zanone down, taking the 8 count. And now Quarry, and he hits him with a glancing blow, and Zanone, apparently tired from all the dancing and jabbing and punching in the earlier rounds, just can't take a punch. The punches were not that hard. 2 knockdowns here in the 9th round. And now, there's a sign of it on Quarry's part, missing by a mile. About 40 seconds to go in this 9th round. Zanone may get away after being knocked down twice. He walked right into a right-hand lead. He's down. Right down above us here. Zanone listening to the count by referee Joey Giambra. No, it's all over. Jerry Quarry has come back in the 8th and 9th rounds as he tries again toward the heavyweight title. He has a long way to go. Here is the initial flurry earlier in the round that got Zanon in trouble. A left, then a right, an uppercut put him down.
Corey's latest comeback flickered and faded like a match in the wind. His wife Charlie walked away for good, and with that, Corey retired again. But walking away from the ring didn't mean walking away from the sport. He turned his attention to promotion, launching Jerry Quarry All Champs Productions. But the pull of the ring, the adrenaline, the applause, the unfinished business, proved too much. After nearly 6 years out, Corey aimed to reinvent himself in a newly formed cruiserweight division. Former lightweight contender Art Aragon said, quote, "Corey's not coming out of retirement, he's coming out of the grave." Backed by promoter George Cantor, Corey looked to be on a fast track, a pair of tune-ups, a crack at the NABF title, and then a shot at cruiserweight champion Carlos de Leon. Corey won 2 fights, cutting his weight from 240 to a lean 195 pounds. But even as he carved out one last run, his focus drifted. He continued to try his hand as a promoter, staging bouts and even stepping into the ring for a 1984 exhibition, only to be battered over 2 rounds by a fighter he was promoting. Other business ventures flamed out fast: mobile homes, satellite TV, a television movie that never got off the ground. Nothing stuck. By 1985, Corey was juggling broken promises and mounting frustrations. He remarried in 1986, but the next year found himself arrested for public drunkenness. In 1989, he pivoted once more, this time to training. His first student was Jim Tunney, a distant cousin of heavyweight legend Gene Tunney. But lightning didn't strike twice. That July, in his pro debut, Tunney was knocked out in 4 rounds. Corey was now a man looking for a place to belong, and with every failed venture that never got off the ground, boxing kept calling him back. And he kept answering even when the rest of the world had stopped listening. Inspired by George Foreman's successful comeback, Corey decided it was his time again. But the script quickly went sideways. A comeback bout was derailed when co-promoter John Ellis punched Corey during a gym dispute, opening a gash above Corey's eye that needed 9 stitches. "If an out-of-shape guy like me can beat up Jerry Quarry," Ellis said, "then he has no business even attempting a comeback." He applied for a license in Wisconsin, denied. Then California, denied again. He threatened to sue the state. "You get bored with life," Jerry said. "Sometimes you sit back and say, 'What do I do best?'" Eventually, he found one state that would say yes: Colorado. His opponent would be Ron Cranmer, a journeyman with a 3-4 record. But for Corey, it wasn't about the opponent. It was about resurrection. His brother James later said that in the lead-up to the fight, Jerry would wander the house whispering to himself, "I'm going to be a hero again. I'm going to be a hero again." But heroes don't always get the fairy tale ending. The 47-year-old Corey stepped into the ring one final time. He was slower, older, far removed from the prime of his youth. Cranmer pummeled him over 6 one-sided rounds. Corey was cut over both eyes. He lost a few teeth. The neurological damage, already lurking from years of punishment, only worsened. And for all that, he earned just $1,000. The beating marked the beginning of a devastating decline. By the mid-1990s, the one-time heavyweight contender couldn't tie his own shoes or manage a shave. He began hearing voices, crying without reason, drifting further from the man he used to be. Doctors diagnosed advanced dementia, saying his brain resembled that of an 80-year-old in its final stages. 3 times divorced, broke, and living off of $614 a month in Social Security, Corey moved in with his sister Diana and their mother. When Diana underwent surgery, Jerry relocated to his older brother James's home, and that's when the world learned the extent of his condition. James made it public, hoping to raise awareness. Instead, he triggered a family rift. "They were upset because they felt I was making Jerry look stupid," James said. "He is not stupid. He is sick. And they thought I was getting money out of it. I don't get a dime." On December 28, 1998, Corey checked into the hospital with pneumonia. A week later, his heart gave out. He was 53 years old. The writers, the same ones who once mocked him when he bled, suddenly found poetry in his autopsy. They called him a cautionary tale, a cracked bell that rang too long in a sport that eats its own. But Corey never asked for sympathy. "I met the Queen of England," he once said. "I met President Reagan. If I hadn't been a fighter and I had been changing Greyhound bus tires, Who was I going to meet? I'd do it all again, same way. He knew. The world gave him two options. Fade away in a mechanic's uniform, nameless and numb, or throw his fists and dare it to hit him back. Quarry chose the latter. He went down hard. The world counted him out. But lions don't cry. They bleed. They roar. They become legends the hard way. Then let the curtain fall.